going to cover the command du, which stands for disk usage. Now, this command reports the sizes of the directory and the directory trees, inclusive of all their contents and the sizes as well of individual files. To better understand this, let's head over to the terminal and take a look at a simple example. So I'm currently standing in /home/Ibrahim, and you might have noticed this in earlier lessons, but if I hit ls-lh, you're going to find that all the directories that I have, surprisingly, have a size of 4 kilobytes. Each and every single directory that I have a size of 4 kilobytes, which might not be the correct case, because if, for example, I head into downloads, you're going to see that I have files inside downloads a lot bigger than 4 kilobytes. So what is the reason exactly behind that? The reason is that 4 kilobyte is not the size of the folder, it is rather the size of the placeholder of an empty directory. So this is the space allocated by the Linux operating system, in our case here, for a space for this empty directory, for a directory by itself and not the content inside that directory. And 4 kilobyte could differ from one system to the other. It depends on the smallest amount that can be allocated by the system. So what du does is it really gets you the disk usage. So for example, if I want to know how big is the directory that I'm currently in, how big in terms of size is the /home/Ibrahim directory, I would simply write du and then I would write -s. Now -s here is for summarize, because du by itself, if I just hit enter, it's gonna get me each and every single directory, subdirectory, hidden directories that are included within the directory that I'm currently issuing the command from. So if I write du-s for summarize, it's going to get me just the size in bytes of the directory that I'm currently standing in. I can always add an h for human readable and get the size in megabytes or gigabytes. So this is the first option. The second option is that I can use du, disk usage, to get the sizes in a very similar format to ls-lh. And the way I would do that is to write du space -h for human readable and then put an asterisk. So what the asterisk is going to do here, it's going to act as a wildcard. So basically, Linux is going to run the du-h command on every single directory and file it sees in the directory that I'm issuing the command from. So if I hit enter here, you're going to see that I have desktop, which is 4 kilobyte because this is an empty directory. Documents, it's 24 kilobytes actually, because I do have some documents inside there. So that 4 kilobyte that is showing in the end in the ls-lh command again is only the space allocated for that directory to really store the metadata for the directory, etc. And it's not actually showing the space occupied by the content of that directory. So this is just how much of space is taken by the directory itself without any of its contents. I hope that makes sense. And for example here, the downloads folder, it was saying here it's 4 kilobyte. Now I can see it's 130 megabyte. You can also see that these files, file1.txt and file2.txt, while here it was actually showing that it was 21 bytes or 15 bytes in the disk usage command, something very similar is going to happen here. We're going to see that the sizes of the files is 4 kilobytes. Why again? Because This is the least amount that can be allocated by the system. This is the least space. This is the least amount of chunk on the disk that can be allocated. So ls-lh is going to show all the directories as 4.0 kilobyte, and disk usage is going to show the real size of those directories, including the contents, so the total size of everything inside that directory. But when it comes to files, it's never going to show a size less than 4 kilobytes. Why? Because of the reason previously stated. So du is a very useful command when you're trying to figure out the size of a directory, the real size of the directory, including the subdirectories, and you can always include the -s option to get a summary of the size of the directory that you're issuing the command from. So just as a last example, if you head over to downloads and do a du-sh, you're gonna get 130 megabyte, which is the size of the downloads directory.